Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. Just wanted to stop in and see how you're all doing after the election day that's still unfolding. To be honest, I haven't looked at the results, mostly because I just don't want to invest my energy in all the drama. Do you know what I mean? As far as I know, what's done is done, and the results will be made clear enough soon enough. And I am just trusting that whatever our country chose was for our best and highest good, for us to learn and to grow and to expand our awareness and our consciousness, because that's what I'm doing. And a lot of times, been sharing a lot about my quantum abundance course coming up tomorrow, and a lot of times it can be reduced. The idea of manifesting and abundance can be reduced down to, oh, that's really self-involved, or that's really selfish. And for me, it's a central work of social transformation. It starts with the individual from the inside out. We have a whole history, thousands of years, of people trying to enforce their vision on the world, mostly through violence. There have been historical periods in time where people have tried to enforce utopia, their vision of the perfect world, through slaughtering millions of people. And this has happened repeatedly. And so for me, it's not so much about political office or one individual. It's about human consciousness and the evolution of it. And for me, that begins with choosing for myself how to be in the world. That has to do with addressing the toxicity and the dysfunction in my own consciousness. And so when I talk about quantum abundance or manifesting, a lot of times, it's popular to reduce it down to financial wealth and abundance as part of what it means to be a valuable citizen in our country. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about although that might be a byproduct of the conditions of your life that might flourish as you begin to do the clearing work, as you begin to clear out your consciousness, as you begin to look at the mote in your own eye before you start pointing out somebody else's. And so it's really, for me, a matter of our value system, and not necessarily a monetary value system, but that's what our whole economy is based on. And so there has to be a huge shift in how we place value on what's important. And I think this year, 2020, has begun to reveal to people what's important. There is still a mass majority of people putting the responsibility outside of themselves on an individual or political office or government. And I don't really think that that's going to be the answers to our prayers. I don't think that's going to be the answer to our human evolution. It has to be something more expansive than that. As our friend Albert Einstein famously quoted, "You can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it." So, voting in a new president, voting in an old president, I don't think is the real issue. It's the fundamental framework in which we live our lives that is being asked to shift. The paradigm in which what we've seen is possible is being asked to be cracked open wide. And a lot of people aren't prepared to have this conversation because it makes them nervous. It makes them question their sense of reality, their belief systems. And it's much easier to ridicule and blame and criticize and hold other people responsible instead of holding ourselves responsible. And that starts, from within, and taking responsibility for all the stuff that we've gathered through our own social conditioning. And it's not easy to do this work. It takes a lot of self-responsibility. It takes a lot of love and compassion for yourself. It takes a willingness to look at times, a lifetime of delusion and dysfunction that has been inherited from, our socialization, our caretakers. So this is part of the reason why I'm not really investing my energy in that so much. I'm showing up, I'm doing my civil responsibility as far as taking the steps to vote, to check my boxes of, what I value. But for me, it's all of naught in a way, because the value system in which it's contained isn't actually holding the best and highest good for for the people. And until that's done, I don't see a lot of changes happening. And I don't think it's going to happen. In fact, I know it's not going to happen from the outside in. It's going to happen when enough people decide to take responsibility for and internalize their own authority instead of putting it outside of themselves. And this is cleaning up a whole socialization, a whole production of giving your power away and having that become normal, handing your authority outside of yourself, and being compensated in other ways for doing that. And a lot of this is just unconscious stuff, that is ready to be dredged up and cleaned out. And so whatever happens with this election, whoever wins or doesn't win, a lot of people, I've seen posts on Facebook, this isn't like somebody winning a game, there's people's lives at stake. There's always been people's lives at stake. In fact, this whole country has always been at stake, and it always is. And when we continue to put our trust in a system that clearly isn't meeting the needs of the common good, then, that's what we're going to get. So it's a scary time for people, because they don't know where to put their trust. They don't know where to put their confidence. They don't know where to put their sense of reality, because it's always been externalized. We've always been taught to look at the material world for our center, for our well-being, for our GPS. And this next step in our human evolution is putting that anchor, or identifying that anchor from within, getting that sense of well-being, that sense of belonging, that sense of authority, that sense of power, that sense of order from the inside out. And so in this way, it's shifting the entirety of our perspective from focusing on the outside world and turning it within. The yogis and the wisdom schools have all taught this throughout time, over and over again. And it just depends on how you choose. It's a shift in perception, and everything is perception. And then you begin to see everything through a new lens, and you begin to understand that things can't be read the way that they've been read anymore. They can't be read as a description of the outside world, because everything that we see around us, contrary to what we've been taught, is a product of consciousness. And this is one essential, foundational aspect of all of our being, me talking to you right now, is that we are pure consciousness. And consciousness doesn't belong to one person. It's a field of being. It's a field of intelligence that's unfolding constantly. And so when I make a shift in my awareness, how I relate to the world, it can't help but affect the entirety of the field that we call consciousness. And so this is an internal transformation that will take place. Like that famous, I think it's a song, the revolution will not be televised because it's going to be an internal one. And revolution, meaning to turn, to shift, and the idea of evolution, to evolve through love and understanding. And that love and understanding is what is going to clear our perception so we can see reality for what it is, not what we've been sold about what it is. And so this is beginning to pull all the threads of your awareness from outside authority structures who are telling you the way the world is, and beginning to turn within to your own wisdom, your own knowledge, your own awareness that is actually connected to everything. And if you really quiet your mind and begin to listen to the vortex of your heart, which is connected to the cosmos, the wisdom is available for everyone. But they don't teach you that in school. They don't tell you that the library of wisdom is in your DNA. It's encoded there. The intelligence of life that is unfolded generation after generation after generation. And it's not found in any government. It's not found in an economy. It's not found in a textbook. It is pure life force, and it belongs to you, and it belongs to me. And that nobody can legislate that, although they try, if we let them, if we continue to let them own it. It's really our birthright. And so it's a matter of saying, I'm not going to play this way anymore. I have a say. I have a say in how I get to play. And this is my new game because it's the first game. It's the game of being. It's the game of creation. It's the game of who we really are and who we have forgotten. We've forgotten our very nature. And all of this is emerging out of my own internal work, out of my commitment to my meditation, and clearing out years of conditioning, social conditioning, that has happened naturally through meditation. It just clears naturally, because consciousness is trying to, as I mentioned in my podcast today, find the equilibrium between extremes. And our culture has been out of equilibrium for who knows how long, where we've given so much power to the intellect and the mind. But the mind has its limits. There's a lot of blind spots that the mind can't even see. It doesn't know what it doesn't know because it doesn't even see it. It's out of its field of vision, so it doesn't exist. But that doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that the intellect and the mind cannot resonate with it. It cannot travel there because it's not the domain of the mind. The heart is not the domain of the mind. Although when you begin to re-educate the intellect and begin to re-educate the mind, then eventually the ego begins to acquiesce and begin to realize that there's no possible way that it can continue to evolve and grow, because it's like trying to drive with one wheel, you know? It needs the heart. The mind and the heart work together, or they were meant to work together in balance, in cooperation, in equilibrium. And the life force that flows through the heart is not personal. It belongs to everyone that is living. It does not have a particular name or age or date or description or category. It's just pure life force flowing through you. It does not belong to you, although it's expressing through you. And the mind and the intellect has been so restricted that it actually thinks that it owns it. It actually thinks that it is the one responsible for it. And this is the shift that is needing to occur in consciousness first. And then it will seep into every domain, every aspect of our world. Because nobody owns, nobody controls life force. And that is the myth. That is the lie that we've been sold, that has caused so much dis-ease, so much disruption, so much dissatisfaction, so much frustration, because it's created a disconnect between two aspects of ourselves. And so it's like trying to live or go forward on one wheel, trying to create with only one part of the recipe, trying to make a soup with only one of the ingredients. And we didn't even know that we were missing the ingredients because we didn't even know that they were available. So I'm here today to let you know that there's a lot more ingredients available, and they're not outside there. They're not outside. They're in here. So I invite you to take some time today and the next day and every day after that to turn within and access the treasure troves that are available there for you, because they were put there, as they say, the last place that you would look. And so I invite you to take some time and begin to cultivate a relationship with the reality of who you are. I think it was yesterday I posted a meme. And I said, remember who you are. My father is the universe. My mother is the planet, and so on. That's really who we are. And we've had to reduce ourselves down and fit ourselves down into these man-made constructs that are based on a fabricated value system that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the full living fully. And that's really why I created my Quantum Abundance course, because, while the grab is how can I make more money, and of course that is a product of shifting your consciousness, it's not the all be it end goal. Because when you start doing this work, really doing this work, you begin to realize that it's much more profound than that. The work you do in yourself is not selfish. It's actually going to affect everyone around you and the entirety of consciousness to shift it. So in a way, it's very impersonal, and it's probably the best kind of work that you could actually do for yourself and everybody else on the planet. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you and give you a little perspective shift, surprise, hiccup for you in case you were really committed to feeling miserable and bad about the outcome of the election, no matter what side you're on. I just wanted to offer that little insight, but it's actually huge. So thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping by and considering what I'm saying. If you found some value for yourself, I invite you to, make a comment or share or say hi. I'm always happy to hear from people and hear how what I share affects people and what it makes them think about it, and how it might begin to impact you on some level or another, either to get you thinking or to get you questioning or to see, maybe see a possibility that you didn't see possible for yourself before, So anyways, that's why I come on here and share my videos and share my messages and write my podcasts and, support people in my coaching practice and, creating the Quantum Abundance course. That's really why. It's because this is what I'm up to. This is the kind of work that I'm doing. All right. Lots of love. Bye for now.